We see Jean as she is being woke up by Scott, and she asks where they are as he responds that the other losers have run off somewhere. She notices that he's talking odd as he begins to push himself onto her, and she can't push him away even with her telekinesis and uses her telepathy instead. Coming out of the illusion, she finds herself in a cell with Fred and Jason as he tells the rotund villain that he told him it wouldn't work. Talking of how it would be difficult to deceive a telepath, Blob ignores him with a scoff and Mastermind warns him to be careful as he was an original member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Blob backhands him though, telling him that he was merely there as Magneto led the group and that they'd still be in the Sentinel base if he hadn't thought up his plan, as Jean sees their fight and finds it no wonder that humans have trouble accepting mutants. In Illinois, Xavier is trying to calm Ashley as she is blaming him for everything going wrong. Terry is trying to come to terms with her daughter being a mutant as Hank tells her that this is the world of mutants while saying that they didn't know about the Sentinel being there. She then feels an odd tingling as Xavier warns that Ashley is using her powers again when the Sentinel's hand begins moving. The machine starts rising above them all. We then change to the Savage Land as Bobby and the others land next to the crashed Sentinel ship. He knows that Xavier would be angry if they left it, and Lorna asks what he's going to do as it's upside down, but he isn't worried as he messes with the controls. The ship begins rising from the ground, and being careful to hang on, it flips over as he lands in the pilot seat. Instructing the others to get to the ship, he reminds them that the natives told them that all the other X-Men had already left, and he wants to do the same as they leave with both vessels. We then swap to the caged X-Men as Warren is reminiscing that the last thing he remembers is being picked up by the fishing ship and being sold to Kruger, then Blob. Scott replies that Avia is still with Kruger, and Warren wants to save her as he asks why Candy is there in Jean's old costume, and she answers that she'll tell him later after they escape when someone says that it's not an option. Looking down, they see Jean with Blob and Unis, and Cyclops threatens that they had better not have hurt her when Unis tells him that their powers only work when they want them to, as they are released to the cheering of a crowd and surrounded by carnival workers. They see a duo of elephants charging them, and Angel finds that he is unable to fly Candy to safety. Dodging out of the way, Cyclops is trying to figure out how their powers are disabled when Candy shouts that there are more goons coming. Angel and Candy run and are pursued by a plethora of animals as Cyclops is trying to hold his own against some of the gun-wielding clowns when Blob intercepts him and it delivers a strong backhanded hit. Noticing that though he dodged, he still got hit, though from another direction as he tries his optic blasts again, but they still don't work. Realizing that a third party must be at work helping the villains, Blob grabs and throws Cyclops at Unis's shield as he is then stepped on, while ruling out Jean as they were captured before the villains got her. Realization dawns on him as he knows that someone is messing with their heads and that their powers are actually working as he tries blowing a hole in the floor and hears Blob cry out. Seeing that he's still under Blob, he manages to break the illusion and stands up, yelling at the others that Mastermind is behind the attack. Looking down, he sees Dukes fallen and stuck in the hole that he created. Blob, though, tells him that he still can't differentiate the illusions from reality, though, as the circus behind them turns monstrous. Angel grabs Candy and lifts off, not paying attention to what's around him so he can fly. Cyclops, meanwhile, finds he can use his blasts again, but is unsure if what he's hitting is real or not. During all this, he wonders where Jean is and whether she was actually with the villains. Turning to Beast, he scales the Sentinel and Ashley effortlessly controls it and yells to the professor that he has no way to stop it, asking if he can do anything. Knowing there's an option, he is reluctant to use it as she turns to him. Yelling that he's been nothing but trouble, he thinks of how she is still a child, but that her powers will destroy everything around her if left unchecked. Knowing the dangers, he reaches into her mind and she freezes. Hank begins to ask a question but is quieted as Xavier is operating at the moment. He explains that he's reaching into her personality and that the slightest mistake could destroy her mind, and the mother yells as Hank holds her back. Talking in a soothing tone with his mind, he begins the process of erasing her ability to use her mutant powers, though it causes him great strain as he tries to alter as little as possible. Finished and worn out, he hopes he succeeded as Ashley also collapses and her mother goes to her. Back with Cyclops, he is deliberating about whether the circus and even the audience is real, and if so, what they are seeing. Blob is irritated that they aren't defeated as Mastermind tells him that the illusions can't actually hurt anyone unless they react to them violently. As above, Angel drops Candy off on a platform to her dismay. Knowing it might be the only safe place, he leaves her and flies down, and using sound as his guide, manages to punch one of the clowns. Looking over, he sees the leader shooting at nothing as he is told to fly through the illusion so he can find a real target. Obliging, Warren flies forward through all of the illusions, and Scott realizes that he hasn't been hitting anything. We turn to Jean as she awakens again in her cell and, using her telekinesis, manages to unlock the door, glad that the mechanism was simple. Heading out, she sees that her surroundings seem to be very real when she begins to feel dizzy and passes out as Kruger rounds the corner. Changing again, we witness Bobby and the others arrive home and wonder where the rest are and whether they made it back yet. Heading inside, they see the scene of the brief fight with the Fantastic Four, and hearing a beeping, they follow it to Cerebro and learn that it's detected a new mutant. Checking the reading, Bobby sees that it's a powerful signal emanating from the Himalayas, but that they need to find the others first. Swapping scenes, we turn to Warren's parents' house as his mother tells her that she loves the man, Bertram, and he is glad that Warren introduced them after his father passed away, and he comforts her as she reminisces about her late husband. Thanking him, she hopes that her son can make it to their wedding.